Welcome back to the Proving Grounds, where we have a ghostly tale of Oxenfree. So today, we will be talking about the PS4 version of Oxenfree. As per usual with these certain types of indie games, this was one of Limited One Games physical editions. But obviously, if you are of the PC side, you have DRM-free options such as GOG, and you also, of course, have the Steam machine. It's also available on Xbox One digitally, but if you want physical, PS4 is your only option, and getting it from scalpels is sadly your only option, unless you get, like, freaking lucky. It's currently going for around $50, $60 online if you want the physical version. It's not as bad as Shantae. But anyway, away from scalpels and on to Oxenfree. Oxenfree was a 2016, I would describe it as a side-scrolling looking story-based game, really. I mean, I wouldn't compare it to a point-and-click game, because you don't really have an inventory or anything of that nature, really. You just have a radio on you, and you gather notes about around the midpoint of the game. Essentially, this is a ghost story game, really. How to really explain it is, you and your friends go to an island, and you're all there just to get, you're a bunch of teenagers, you're going to get drunk and stay overnight and, be adolescent teenagers. And basically you all unleash ghosts on the island and they're trying to possess you and so they can be free and shit. So you're all trying to figure out what the fuck's going on and shit. This is a very, very story-focused game, so some people might, if it wasn't for the perspective being a, I guess you could say maybe kind of a 2D side-scrolling, foreground, background kind of thing, because you're not just side-scrolling, you're going up and down paths and shit, so. But you're all viewing the characters on the side in a 2D playing style. One thing I really like about this game is its art style. I really like the art style. The voice acting's okay. It doesn't blow my mind, but it works. But I really like the art style of the game. It really stands out among a lot of indie games, in my opinion. I really do think that is visually one of the stronger suits of the game. The game sadly does not have a lot of puzzles. There are a few which are essentially done with your radio. Your radio is any puzzles, but what's interesting about the radio is it also leads to a lot of Easter eggs and things. There's a lot of weird stuff to find in areas on different frequencies, from finding just random sound effects from a Looney Tune episode to Morse code. There are actual Morse codes in the game. If you can find them and you actually know how to read Morse code, you will find a whole new level of story depth. Unlike Lone Survival, which I said kind of lacks a lot of information to kind of get a lot of interesting theory balls rolling, Oxenfree provides a number of nice of sources of information and extras as Easter eggs. I don't know Morse code. I had to look them up to find out what the hell they meant, and it was actually interesting. It added an extra layer to the game. Now, the original game apparently got a update that added some additional content, which is in the PS4 version, in the Xbox One version. So if you're getting the physical version, you do have the extra content. It's on disc. It's not updated that. But you're essentially exploring this island the children went to figure out a way to escape before they become fully possessed by these ghosts, and you get separated. And if you played a lot of the modern Telltale games, well, it's very decision based. Your actions, and even at the end, they'll tell you like the majority of the players did this instead of this, and the majority of the players did this and this. The events that happen at the end are affected by your decisions during the game. So, being a good or a bad little girl will have an effect on what you're doing and your friends. The characters themselves, overall, I didn't really get into the characters. Most of them are all adolescents with problems of pretty stereotypical teenagers and that. I mean, it's sad with the main character's situation, but, it's nothing too unique about them that really make me connect with them. I was a nerd, so all these people are either one of them's like the kind of popular girl type, while the others were more kind of in the neutral stance. They didn't really connect with me, but I didn't hate that. Well, I hated one of them, but I didn't really hate any of them. I didn't think they were just a terrible cast of characters. But I can't say I really connected with any of the characters per se too much. There are two segments besides the radio that are probably the closest other thing to really any kind of puzzles. Where you get quizzed, and there are little bits of trivia you can get with your radio, and essentially, if you didn't grab those and remember those, you're going to do bad at those. I got screwed on those because I did not bother with the random bits of trivia about sites on the island, so I got screwed on most of that. The kind of mood, being a story game, obviously the voice acting, the art style, the mood, the music are very important because there's very little actual gameplay in the game, because sadly a lot of people would probably compare it to the walking simulators of Gone Home and that. The radio, there are two things I really like in this game in that regard, since you're traveling around this island a lot. But, there aren't that many puzzles. Your radio, you can play with your radio while moving. So, while you're walking the trail, you can go through the different channels and find different things on the radio. Plus, there are little points where you have to find a specific frequency to get a unique message at, which is one of the collectibles. One of the other collectibles are notes about somebody who lived on the island that goes into greater detail about what's going on. And like I said, those notes you can start finding around the midway point of the game. The other thing is talking to the characters. There's a few times where you get to make choices on who's going to be with you, because most of your characters do not stick together. Usually you will always have one person with you, though. As you're walking around that, you'll talk and you'll make choices and such. This is very good in my opinion, because in a lot of these type of games, everything stops. Let's take Gears of War for a great example. I got so sick, I could not play Gears of War 2. I liked Gears of War 1, I could not play 2, because I hated the complete halting of everything, and then everyone has to start blabbing and talking, and then you can start moving again. You can keep moving in this game while talking and everything, and that actually keeps the pace going forward instead of halting everything. Unless something major is happening, which usually involves confronting the possession of the ghosts, or the really only other thing I could actually really compare to being a puzzle is when you cause a loop. A loop is where there's a segment of the gameplay actually looping, and you have to figure a way out of it. If you don't do it right, you go back to the beginning, and you'll probably tell your partner, it's like, oh shit, we're looping again, and they're like, oh, we're in that again? Because apparently the main character is the only one that realizes it happens. But those are mostly just more dialogue, But aside from those, you usually can just keep moving forward while talking, so you can kind of interact with the characters in the positive, negative, fuck with them, troll with them, befriend them, be nice to them, whatever you want to do with each character. And you can keep those separately, you can like one character and be a bitch to another character. So you can favor and hate whoever you want, or have a freedom in that. Similar to a lot of indie games, I definitely would recommend playing this blind the first time. This is a little longer than Lone Survival in that regard. Averagely, most people seem to be about 4 hours, depending on my first playthrough, which I did blind. I only found a few of the notes and that. I do plan on doing a replay of the game, because there are other endings, and when we go into spoiler territory, we'll talk a little about why replaying it also slightly interesting. But the atmosphere and the mood of the game, it works, in my opinion. If you can relate to the characters, like I said, I didn't relate to them very well, but if you can really relate to them, I would say this game probably would be very good for you. It's about $20, I believe. Yes, $19.99 on digital platforms. Like I said, if you want the physical limited one it had, you're looking around the 50-60 range currently of this recording. I'm sure it will vastly change over time if you're watching down the road in the future. It is available DRM free, like I said, on GOG. I think I said that right, didn't I? So, if DRM is a issue, you can do that. But I do know on my physical version, IGN said an emotional adventure game you need to know about. I do think it's probably would fit that bill if you can relate to the characters. That's probably like that kind of description I would probably give the Neo on the PS3. I would say an emotional adventure game you need to know about Neo for the PS3. That would be my version of that. But that's just me. Everyone has the right to say what they want to that. I did enjoy this game. I do want to replay it. I might also consider doing a stream of it, but I don't know if I want to do it of a replay or not. So, but I do recommend checking it out. $19.99 might be a little in the more pricey range. It is a little longer than Lone Survival, like I said, but you don't have a lot of gameplay. It's a huge chunk of it is story, and I'm always very iffy on very pricey like games that are more story and very little gameplay are always iffy to me. Very iffy to me. I mean, on the GOG page, it actually claims it's a point-and-click game, which I guess it probably does work like a point-and-click mouse-wise. Moving the characters probably works like that on the PC version, unlike the console version where you use the analog stick. But, you don't have inventory management or any puzzles like that, like a point-and-click game, so I would kind of find that tag kind of misleading myself, but I enjoyed it, but $19.99 seems a little pricey to me for a game that doesn't have a lot of gameplay. Like, I would probably say just get Undertale for $10 instead. You get a lot of different gameplay and an interesting story with it. But I would definitely get, if you see a sale or in a humble bundle, that I think that's definitely a good deal to get. Probably, I probably wouldn't pay more than $15, just because I do have to admit, I really think this game has a very nice art style. Because you do have a lot of these, like, no, I know I keep bashing on Gone Home. Like, I don't hate Gone Home. I just think it's overpriced for the amount of content you get and the literally of almost no gameplay in it. It's just really hard to justify that amount of money for that game. and it has no unique art style at all. I don't know. I really like the art style for this game. I really, really like it. I really hope let's see, I believe they were called Night School Studios. I really hope they look into making another game and take advantage of whoever drew the artwork for this game. Sadly, the only other game they did was apparently a phone game, so a bit of a shame on that. But I hope they really, whoever, or just the artist, somebody, I need to look up who did the art. I really like it. Just like it. But I think 15 probably be more comfortable, because the two biggest things I always take consideration in the price is gameplay and length. Length is a bit of an iffy thing, but when you have just a lot of story and very little gameplay, length is one of the few things you have after that. So if you like what you see, maybe 20 be worth it for you. I think 15 or down if you see it for sale. Those are my thoughts. Going into spoiler territory in 3, 2, 1. So things get pretty freaky once you start getting in. The possessions of your friends are becoming more frequent. One of your friends is going absolutely ballistic in the possession, and you're finding these weird points where you're making these triangle portal openings, and you're trying to figure out what the hell to do to get this all to stop and shit. The lady who lived on the island, apparently, I only found a few of the notes, so I have not actually looked up the Weedum, because I did want to find them and experience where they are that, so I do have a little limited knowledge, but she was apparently also dealing with this issue with a friend of hers, who, Interestingly, the Morse code messages you're getting on your radio are from her friend who made a sacrifice, like the main character does at the end of the game. At the end of the game, you go back to the cave where this all started, and you go into the other side and seal it from inside. This, at first, looks like you've solved the problem, but depending on the kind of theories you go by, I'm kinda in the mindset with the fact that she's trapped in a never-ending loop of experiencing these events forever. Like, she's going... I believe in the theory that she's going through alternate realities over and over again, experiencing these events after she closed the portal to save her friends. So in that timeline, her friends or free, but she got trapped, and now she's experiencing the shit over and over again. You could say she literally became Flowey, where she can now use this event as her personal playground to do every little scenario she can come up with, and this is where the different endings and even dialogue changes when we play the game. When you start a new game, it makes it pretty clear that the main character has some remnant memory that this shit's happened before, and the effects that happen when you are looping or happening a lot in the opening and a replay. So you're trapped in this loop going through this over and over again, and you could either keep saving your friends in each of these alternate timelines or just fuck with them, or that. I ended up getting my friend in a relationship with the new girl, made good friends with your half brother, and made up with your brother's ex. Now, there was actually another ending where you can be a bitch to everyone. The two don't get together. You don't get along with your brother. You don't remake it. But you can also change the fate of your brother. In the game, you find out you're told that the main character's brother drowned the day before he was going to leave their town. You get several loops where you interact with her brother. You can actually... And this is what the looping to me, seems to strongly represent alternate reality. So, see, she essentially can actually alter her brother's fate and actually make an ending where he's alive. So, there were some interesting scenarios, some new dialogue, and some references that sometimes refer to the previous playthrough. So, replaying the game's interesting too, which is another plus for this game, in my opinion. A lot of these type of very, very story-focused games with very little to no puzzles in them, a lot of times they suffer from great replay value. They have usually, like, there's literally almost no point to playing Gone Home again, aside from maybe trying to cause weird bugs or something. There's no replay value to it. The way they structured the story and the looping plot actually gives you an encouragement to at least replay the game one more time, if not multiple. So, I think they did a very good job on that. And those are my thoughts on Oxenfree, Willie. If you like what you're looking at, and I would definitely recommend checking it out. If you have any questions or anything, please leave a message down below with your orange soapstone, and I will happily reply back if YouTube doesn't fuck up with those stupid spam folders. The damn auto-filtering shit. Anyway, thank you for watching, and until next time, in the Proving Grounds, praise the sun. And don't let the ghosts get you.
私の作った朝ごはん